Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and I did it, I've done it again. I've made it through a long day of constant reviewing because yesterday 5 countries chose their songs for Eurovision, the last of which being Iceland. I mean, technically Azerbaijan also released their song, but that can wait until Monday, damn it. So, Iceland. They have chosen Ari Ólafsson and the song Our Choice, which is presented in English. As far as I know, there is also an Icelandic version called Heim, which means home, and music and lyrics by Þórunn Erna Klausen. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, because Icelandic is a bit of a tricky language. Now, I didn't really follow the Icelandic national final at all this year, but apparently people were sort of confused by the result, because the song that came second did really well in the voting, and then it didn't win. So, I don't know if that's expected or scandalous or what, but I wasn't following it, so if you have any opinions about that, I cannot judge them in any way, shape or form. Anyway, first impressions of this song. Oh, well, this one's just precious, isn't it? What surprises me most about this one is it feels like the sort of thing where I would listen to some of it and then gradually start tuning out, and then before I realise what's happened, the song's suddenly over. But actually, I found myself paying attention throughout. Like, this isn't the sort of song that I would expect to necessarily be able to pay attention to throughout, but I do, which surprises me. I'm not especially impressed or floored by what I hear by any means, so, you know, don't let the compliment go to your head, but I do find the whole thing to be polite and precious and so sweetly well-meaning. Bless your heart, Ari, and also Þórunn, who wrote the song in the first place. I do have some worries with this song, though, but before we get to those, let's look at what you might enjoy here. Well, it may have a message that we've heard 1,000 times before, but it's a pure, innocent story that people always need reminding of. While the Netherlands tells us that we all have outlaws in ourselves somewhere, Iceland is also here to remind us that everyone has the ability to be a kind, happy person full of self-belief in pursuit of a peaceful world. And I do find that to be lovely and reassuring. Not to mention inoffensive, it doesn't take risks that might offend people, which, fair enough. To the song's credit though, the message does appear to be part of Ari's actual personal philosophy, which means that he believes in it when he performs it. The way he performs, even the way he talks about the song for that matter, it all demonstrates how much he believes every word he's saying. It is an actual bit of his soul in a sort of way, even though it wasn't him that wrote it, but still. He truly believes that if everyone listened, and I mean truly listened to his song, the world could become that unattainable, better place that this sort of song always goes on about. That said, the song is presented in a gentle and kind sort of way. Unlike some others, the message here isn't forced down your throat. It's not just in your face and being crammed into your skull as far as it'll go to make sure that, hey, look, we're being really heavy-handed about the message, do you get the message yet? This song doesn't do that. It feels more like a conversation, almost. It's the sort of thing where you could, if you felt that way, say, thanks but no thanks, and then move on from the message, and there will be no animosity there. You know, the guy singing could just be like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough, that's your prerogative, and, like, not sarcastically. It feels like a conversation is what I'm trying to say. He's politely asking the world to change, which sort of demonstrates the message by itself. He's not demanding the world should change, he's being the change he wants to see. And I appreciate that, I really do. And if none of that does anything for you, there is also the bridge at the 2-minute mark, which adds some extra instrumental variety just to keep things interesting. It certainly kept my attention anyway. It's a section that could have been bland or forced or just the same as the rest of the song but with fewer instruments, but it comes surprisingly naturally, even though it introduces some new instruments that weren't present elsewhere in the song, and it presents more aural interest than just the base level expectation. So I think that's worthy of praise as well. So overall, it's a nice, sweet, sincere package that is at least worthy of respect if nothing else. Now though, that is all well and good, but there are points that you may not like quite so much, and we should acknowledge those as well. Principally, for all the good intentions that this song has, it really does come across as just another stock let's be nice to each other kind of song, and since the market is already so saturated with those, like, across Eurovision history especially, this really doesn't stand out all that much, to be honest. In both that regard and in the key and the melody, I'm actually reminded of Switzerland's entry from 2006, If We All Give a Little. And if a song reminds you of Ralph Siegel, generally speaking at Eurovision you should be afraid, because the Eurovision fandom are ruthless at tearing that man down. Playing into that as well, the song has a rather sluggish tempo, all things considered. While that does work alongside Ari's voice and the general gentle atmosphere well enough, it does lend the song an air of lethargy, which makes it a bit harder to get invested in because, well, it's... I'm going to bring out that word that I haven't said in a while, it's a bit Dulvely. For people who are just joining a channel, that's dull plus lovely. So it's not awful, but it's a bit tough to engage with. For that matter, the overall package, from its message to its politeness to its tempo to its presentation, it all says to me that this is a prime candidate to be swallowed up by the competition. Instrumentally, it'll be beaten out by songs who have greater musical interest, and message-wise, it'll be overtaken by songs with more unique messages. No matter how you slice it, this one really doesn't stand out all that much in any way, which is a shame given how sweet it is, but because it doesn't stand out, that could be its greatest asset because it's not competing on the same level as everyone else? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. Either way, we now come to the point in the review where I use a scale from 1 to 10 to distill everything that I've said so far into a number. Personally, I will give Iceland a 7. I appreciate the execution of this one, insofar as it has the greatest of intentions, backed by a singer who truly, genuinely believes in the philosophy of the song, and the presentation of the song, and himself, and it's all very nice and sweet, but it just doesn't have that appeal, that X factor that keeps me coming back to other songs. When all is said and done, I feel as though I'm probably going to forget about this entry pretty quickly, which I freely admit is a damn shame, because it is nice and sweet and all of that. By that same logic, this gets a 7 on the technical front too. What it aims to do, it does decently well. For what it is, the instrumentation is solid and sort of tough to oppose in a critical environment, but it doesn't do all that much to stick in your head, really. It has that bridge at the 2-minute mark, but that's about it. Everything else, from the tone to the lyrics, is absolutely nothing we haven't heard before, with no especial draw to make it seem all that special or individual. Now, I firmly believe that songs shouldn't have to be massive innovators in order to score well, but that being said, if you could listen to any other song and have exactly the same experience, why should I listen to this song specifically? I'm trying to get into the mindset of other people here. I think that is kind of the song's biggest weakness. So is this a step up for Iceland? Well, I mean, no, but it's not a step down either. Iceland's still rolling with the Söngvakeppnin format, which works pretty well. I heard a recap of the 6 finalists and none of them especially impressed me, to be honest, but I didn't follow it last year either, so I can't say with any certainty if the lineup is weaker across the board, and somehow I don't think it is, it's just this year's lineup. One way or the other, it just seems like another day at the office for Iceland, and they were doomed to a mediocre result no matter which song they chose of that lineup as far as I could hear. But that is just inferring from the recap that I heard. I could be so totally wrong about that, and if I am, then so be it. So, on those grounds, do I expect Iceland to qualify? Not really, to be honest. Being pure of heart will only get you so far. The juries might give this a few leftovers from their top 10s, and maybe 1 or 2 countries will have enough televoters to open their hearts to Ari and give them some points, but I really don't expect this to do anything surprising or impressive in Lisbon. It's a shame, because this is the sort of song the world needs to hear, but if you could go to almost any other song and get exactly the same experience, there's no real reason for this one to stand out, unless I have missed something huge, in which case fair enough. But then again, maybe Team Iceland will prove me wrong when Ari takes to the stage. Maybe it's reverse psychology. You know, Iceland have sent several final-worthy songs in recent years and not qualified, so maybe they're sending something this year that's different and less assertive in the hopes that it'll make it into the final anyway. I would welcome that with a song as wholesome as this. So I have been, and will continue to be, Tessellating Hexagons, and to Ari, Þórunn, and everyone else involved in the Icelandic delegation, I say to you, the very best of luck, and we'll see if you pull any surprises when you get to the stage in May. Good luck for then.